Okay, so make sure, as always, you have everything that you need. You need to have your 4H, 3B, and 6B pencil. And you need to have your pink eraser and your kneaded eraser. And then also, too, that scrap piece of paper that we've been using to protect our project from our drawing arm. And, it's been pulling double duty. We also use it to create that nice shading edge with our pencil. So make sure you have all those things. So I'm going to get my pencils in order here. Very first thing you want to do, erase over your drawing, making sure that you have your guidelines erased off, and then of course also to erase over your actual drawing itself so that you lighten up those pencil lines, because we do not want those to stick around and make it look like we have outlines all over the place. I'm also going to do the same thing with the bottom of my face too, so erase the line around my jawline and my chin. You want to just erase enough that you still see it. Of course, I use dark lines, which is not what you should be doing, but I did it for the demo. You can still see mine pretty well. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my 4H pencil, give myself a really nice shading edge here to work with. And I'm going to work with this area between the nose and the lips, okay? Now, when you look at this little, and I don't even, what is it called, Cupid's bow? Is that what it's called? I think it's called a Cupid's bow. So this section right here, so these little edges, or this form that you're getting between your nose and your top lip, it's very much like the nose in the sense that you're not going to see it until you carve out the form. So that's what I'm going to do. So a lot of times what I like to start with is the area in between those two edges and carve that out, and then I'll work on the areas around the side and above the top lip. Now, a lot of you guys will notice that on your top lip, because the top lip sticks out here in the middle, you'll get highlights right up above there, so you will be dealing with that right now. And that's one of the ways we kind of see the mouth, too, without having to utilize an outline for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and start working on this area in between my two edges on the Cupid's bow. And this will start, too, connecting my nose with this area. But I want to make sure that I'm leaving these highlights that I see on my Cupid bow alone. So I'm looking at the shape that these values are creating. So I've got a little bit of 4H on there. Now I'm going to go with my 3B where I need it. You should start to see that now look like it's dipping in as soon as you put that second value on there. This is also, too, when I kind of refine my nose. I'm always surprised at how one thing leads to another, but that's the case with the self-portrait a lot of times. Okay. I'm going to kind of zoom in a little bit more. There. Okay. So I've got the middle section of my Cupid's bow established, so now I'm just going to work my way out. And again, I'm going to avoid those highlights. I'm going to work around them. So I'm going to go back to using my 4H. Make sure I have a nice edge to shade with. And I kind of started this a little bit yesterday. Dealing with the nose, I needed to get some of this in. And then once I get that layer of 4H on there, then I will start going in with my 3B where I need it. And again, this is also still helping me a lot with my nose, because this stuff is all related. Okay, so once I get the kind of Cupid's bow and then the area above the lip established, now I'm going to go ahead and start with the top lip. So I'm going to kind of move this, so there we go, it's a little bit. All right, so I'm going to start with the top lip, and again, the lips is just an extension of your skin. So there you're going to see a big value change. It's either going to be lighter or darker than the skin around it. So you can start by just kind of studying that area and figuring out that question or the answer to that question. I'm going to point out a couple things up here with my pencil. So the middle part or the center of your lips, regardless if it's the top or the bottom, that's the part of your lips that sticks out the most. When you get to the sides of your mouth, that actually is laying flat to your face. Whereas, again, the center pops out. And you can kind of feel that if you just put your finger on top the middle section of your lips. You can feel how those pop out. And then put your finger right on the very side of your mouth. It's flat. So because the middle section of our lips sticks out, it does tend to catch light, okay? And again, because the top lip is on top of the bottom lip, a lot of times you get a cast shadow even off the top lip onto the bottom lip. So there's all these things that are going on. Some of you guys might see some creases in your lips, okay? So you'll be dealing with that too. I see a little bit, not too much. I don't have much in the lip section, so I don't have too much to look at. So I'm just going to start working on the top lip, and then I'll go to the bottom lip. I'll kind of talk my way through it and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and hopefully that'll help you guys. So I'm going to start with my 4H again, and I'm just going to look again at the shapes that I see the shadows making. So I can even see a difference between the left and the right side of my lip, so that's something I'm going to try and plug in. And then when I'm done with the 4H, then I'm going to go in with my 6B. I'm also simultaneously working on the midline, because that is, after all, where those two lips join, so that's where you're going to get a pretty dark shadow, because they're overlapping each other. And the other thing I think is interesting with the midline is, again, how much variation is in it, even in its thickness. And again, I'm just using my 3B pencil for this part right now. Kind of hard to talk when I'm trying to shade this part. Now I don't want that midline to just be too harsh, so I'm going to go out and kind of feather it out a little bit. So there's just the left side of my top lip. So now that I've kind of carved that out and got that started, I am going to move on to the other side. So I do like to approach both sides a little separately, because I do see a difference. There's something here in the middle that happens because, and a lot of people got like a little tat, I don't know what you would call, like just an angle or a bend right there at the top of the top lip. And I can see mine have a big value change, so I want to get that established, and that'll help me then fill in the other side. Because this other side, again, it's quite a bit lighter than my left. And again, I'm going to kind of feather out that midline so it doesn't look too harsh. Add that 3B wherever I need it. All right, so after I get something down for my top lip, I don't think I'm finished. I'll probably go back and kind of keep tweaking it. I'm going to go ahead and now do my bottom lip. Now your bottom lip, the bottom, and this is going to sound weird, but the bottom part sometimes will catch a lot of light right here. It's like, and again, here in the center of our lips, whether it be the top or the bottom, it does stick out from your face. So it's going to catch light because of that. So I want to look for the shapes and how they change and what they look like here in this section. And then again, as you go to the corners of your mouth, that's where your lips sort of start to flatten out to your face, and you'll see it get a bit darker. So I want to find those highlights. I don't know if I'll be able to pull them out because I drew my drawing pretty dark. So I will start with that. Now, you'll also see too that your lip, your top lip, will put a cast shadow on top of your bottom lip. So right here where I'm working right now, I'm kind of starting to get like a little bit of, I want to start nailing in that cast shadow that the top lip's putting on the bottom lip. So get that started. And that also helps to make that kind of look like, again, your lips are going in at that part and creating that crease. So we want it to look like a crease, not a line. And that's how you can do that. So there's my little cast shadow, just started. Probably going to have to get darker later. And then I'm going to look at the corners of my mouth and see how those are different. Again, my left side is darker than my right, so make sure that shows. And then move on to the 3B when I'm ready. Okay. I haven't used any 6B yet, but I do probably need to go in and add a little bit. There we go. Now the next thing for me to do is just to continue down So I'm going to kind of deal with my chin and just the side over here. Now the thing with the section below, like basically between your bottom lip and our little like kind of hump that we get from our chin, again, take note of any highlights you might see. You know, again, our bottom lip here in the center stands out and kind of pokes out from our face a bit, so you're going to catch some light anytime something sticks out. So what I want to do is figure out where that little hump is on my chin. Kind of draw that in. Some of you guys might already have that drawn in. That's fine. So I'm kind of just figuring out where that is. And now I'm just going to work basically the section between my bottom lip and my hump of my chin. And I'm just trying to identify what these shapes look like. And I'm starting with my 3B. I wanted to start with my 4H. I'm going to start with my 4H here. And again, looking at how these shapes are curving around the form of my face. Joining up with some of these other shapes that I had put in yesterday. So I got to see how these things are all connecting. And when I'm ready, just switch to my 3B. I'll notice too that there's some darker kind of values happening around the very corner of my mouth. And once I get that section sort of established, then I'm going to move down to the bottom of my chin and start putting that in. Again, just keeping in mind what kind of shape these values are making, how they're wrapping around the form, and how the light is affecting them. And then just continue to connect these shapes that I've made before. It's kind of like a big connect the dot sort of piece, or like even like a map. One thing leads to another. Where does this go? What's the size of this compared to that? I'm just constantly asking myself and comparing, contrasting what I see to try to figure out how I need to interpret that on the paper. Again, once I got that started with the 4H, then I go in with my 3B. And what you see is going to be very different from what I'm seeing, because we're all sitting in different spots. And there's a lot too that we still can't really work out necessarily on this because we need the neck. So that'll be something that, we'll finish up even the chin and the bottom of the jawline when we do the neck. So that's basically the chin, the mouth, area. You have the rest of the bell to kind of work out this area and try to get it to kind of connect with your cheeks that you started the other day. And then Monday, just remember guys that on Monday it's going to be all about shading our hair, which again, once we do that, it'll help us with everything else. So yeah, so that's where we're at today. And there you go.